223. The Battle of Poyang Lake. As Zhu Yuanzhang expanded his power southward, he encountered a formidable adversary, Chen Yuliang. Originally the general under the rebel leader Su Shouvei, Chen Yuliang later betrayed and murdered Su, proclaiming himself king and establishing the Han state. Controlling vast territories in Jiangxi, Hunan, and Hubei, he commanded a large and powerful military force, forming a significant regional power. In 1360, Chen Yuliang led a formidable naval fleet down the Yangtze River from Kaisha, aiming to capture Yingtian Prefecture, present-day Nanjing, and absorb Zhu Yuanzhang's territories. Zhu Yuanzhang urgently convened his advisors to discuss how to counter the Han army. Some argued that their forces were too weak to resist and suggested surrendering early. Others proposed retreating to Zhongshan, now Nanjing, for a desperate last stand. Some advocated for a decisive battle, believing that even if they failed, they could still retreat afterward. As the debate raged on, a newly recruited strategist, Lu Ji, also known as Lu Bowen, stood silently to the side. Zhu Yuanzhang, undecided, dismissed the meeting but privately summoned Lu Ji and asked for his opinion. Lu Ji declared, "Those who advocate surrender or retreat should be executed." Zhu Yuanzhang asked, "Then what strategy do you suggest to defeat the enemy?" Lu Ji replied, "The enemy has come from afar, while we are well prepared at home. Victory is within our grasp. If you generously reward your soldiers to boost morale and use an ambush to exploit the enemy's weaknesses, we have a strong chance of defeating Chen Yuliang." Zhu Yuanzhang was delighted by this plan, and they formulated a detailed strategy. One of Zhu Yuanzhang's generals, Kang Maokai, was an old acquaintance of Chen Yuliang. Zhu Yuanzhang summoned him and said, "To lure Chen into our trap, we need your help. Write him a letter pretending to surrender and offer to serve as his inside agent. Also, give him false intelligence that will make him divide his forces into 3 separate routes, thus weakening his army." Kang Maokai agreed, saying, "That's easy. I have an old servant who once worked for Chen Yuliang. If he delivers the letter, Chen will not suspect a thing." That night, Kang Maokai wrote the letter as instructed and sent his old servant to Kaisha to deliver it to Chen Yuliang. When Chen Yuliang received the letter, he did not doubt its authenticity. He asked the servant, "Where is Master Kang now?" The servant replied, "He is stationed at Jiangdong Bridge, waiting for you." Chen Yuliang continued, "What does the bridge look like?" The servant answered, "It's a wooden bridge, easy to recognize." Pleased with the response, Chen Yuliang ordered a grand feast for the servant before sending him back. As the servant was leaving, Chen Yuliang instructed him, "Tell Kang Maokai that I will soon arrive at Jiangdong Bridge. When I get there, I will call out Old Kang 3 times, and he should respond immediately." The servant returned and reported everything to Zhu Yuanzhang, who was thrilled. That very night, he ordered the wooden bridge at Jiangdong to be dismantled and replaced with a stone bridge. Meanwhile, intelligence from defectors in Chen's army revealed his invasion routes. Zhu Yuanzhang stationed his generals Su De and Chang Yechen at key defensive positions along the riverbanks, while he personally commanded the main force at Lulong Mountain, now Lion Mountain, Nanjing. He devised a signaling system. Raising a red flag meant that the enemy had arrived, and raising a yellow flag signaled the order for a full attack. With everything set, they waited for Chen Yuliang to fall into the trap. As planned, Chen Yuliang led his navy towards Jiangdong Bridge. However, upon arrival, he was startled to find a stone bridge instead of a wooden one. His officers became suspicious, but Chen, eager to find Kang Maokai, rode to the bridge and repeatedly called out, "Old Kang! Old Kang!" Hearing no response, Chen finally realized he had been deceived. He quickly ordered a retreat. Zhu Yuanzhang, seeing the enemy ensnared, immediately raised the yellow flag to launch the attack. Instantly, war drums thundered, and hidden troops surged from their positions, ambushing Chen's forces. Zhu's river navy also joined the assault. The sudden attack threw Chen Yuliang's army into disarray. Thousands of his soldiers were killed or drowned, and Zhu's forces captured 2,000 troops and over 100 warships. Qin Yuliang barely escaped with his life in a small boat, protected by his remaining officers. This defeat severely weakened Qin Yuliang's military strength, while Zhu Yuanzhang's reputation soared. The final showdown at Poyang Lake. Qin Yuliang, unwilling to accept defeat, spent the next 3 years rebuilding his forces. He constructed a vast fleet of warships and, in 1363, led a massive army of 600,000 troops to lay siege to Hongdu, modern-day Nanchang, Jiangxi. Zhu Yuanzhang, now commanding an army of 200,000, marched to relieve Hongdu. Seeing Zhu's forces approaching, Qin lifted the siege and retreated to Poyang Lake, setting the stage for the most decisive naval battle of the era. Qin Yuliang's fleet, consisting of colossal warships, stretched for dozens of miles, while Zhu Yuanzhang's fleet was composed of much smaller vessels. Outmatched in strength, Zhu's forces suffered losses for 3 consecutive days. At this point, General Guoxing advised Zhu, "Our forces are too weak for a direct confrontation. We must use fire attacks to win." Zhu Yuanzhang immediately ordered 7 small fireboats, each loaded with gunpowder and towing a light escape boat behind them. That evening, a strong northeastern wind began to blow. Zhu dispatched a suicide squad to steer the fireboats into Qin's fleet. With the wind fanning the flames, the fireboats crashed into Qin Yuliang's massive warships, setting them ablaze. The inferno spread rapidly, illuminating the lake with a fiery red glow. Thousands of Qin's soldiers burned or drowned, and many more were captured. As Qin Yuliang attempted to break through Zhu's blockade at the lake's exit, he was struck by a barrage of arrows and killed in battle. With Qin Yuliang's death, the largest rival force in southern China was eliminated. Zhu Yuanzhang then proclaimed himself King of Wu. Zhu Yuanzhang's rise to emperor. Following the death of Lu Futong, Zhu Yuanzhang took control of Little Ming King Han Liner and moved him to Chuzhou. Though he publicly maintained allegiance to Han Liner, his ambitions grew. By 1366, he saw Han as an obstacle to his own rise to power. Zhu arranged for Han Liner to be transported by boat to Yingtian, Nanjing. As the vessel crossed the Yangtze River near Guabu, southeast of modern-day Liuhe, Jiangsu, Zhu's agents secretly sabotaged the ship, causing it to sink and drown Han Liner. With Han Liner gone, Zhu Yuanzhang was free to claim the throne. In 1367, Zhu launched a final campaign against warlord Zhang Shicheng, crushing his resistance. He then appointed Su De as Grand Marshal and Chang Yechen as Deputy Marshal, leading 250,000 troops on a northern expedition against the Yuan dynasty. Within 2 months, Su Da's army swept through Shandong. In January 1368, Zhu Yuanzhang officially proclaimed himself emperor in Yingtian, founding the Ming dynasty. With momentum on their side, the Ming army pressed northward, defeating Yuan forces at every turn. In August, Su Dao's troops captured Dadu, modern-day Beijing. Yuan Shundi fled to Xanadu, marking the end of the Yuan dynasty's 97-year rule over China. 224. Lu Bowen prays for rain. During the Ming dynasty's unification wars, Zhu Yuanzhang relied on brave and skilled generals to conquer cities and expand his territory. At the same time, he also gathered strategists and advisors to assist him in planning his military and political strategies. Among these advisors, Lu Ji, commonly known as Lu Bowen, was the most famous. Lu Bowen was originally an official of the Yuan dynasty. However, dissatisfied with the corruption of the Yuan government, he often wrote essays satirizing the political situation. Eventually, he was dismissed from his position and returned to his hometown, Qingtian, now in Zhejiang province. When Zhu Yuanzhang's army reached eastern Zhejiang, he invited Lu Bowen to join him as a military strategist. During the campaigns against Qin Yuliang and Zhang Shicheng, Lu Bowen devised numerous strategies that led to key victories. Because of his intelligence and strategic insight, Zhu Yuanzhang greatly trusted him, often comparing him to Zhang Liang, the famous strategist of the early Han dynasty. Lu Bowen was not only skilled in strategy but also highly knowledgeable in astronomy. In ancient China, celestial phenomena were often linked to omens of fortune or disaster. Lu Bowen closely observed political and natural events, making highly accurate predictions. The common people, believing that his foresight was due to his mastery of astronomy, regarded him as someone with supernatural foresight. The drought and the wrongly accused. While Zhu Yuanzhang was ruling as the king of Wu, a severe drought struck the Jiangnan region. Since Lu Bowen was in charge of astronomical observations, Zhu Yuanzhang asked him, "Why is this drought happening, and how can we pray for rain?" Lu Bowen replied, "The heavens refuse to send rain because there are too many wrongful imprisonments." Taking this advice seriously, Zhu Yuanzhang ordered Lu Bowen to investigate the prisons. Lu Bowen discovered that many prisoners were wrongly convicted. After reporting his findings, Zhu Yuanzhang overturned the unjust verdicts and released those who had been falsely imprisoned. In reality, praying for rain and overturning wrongful convictions were entirely unrelated matters. Lu Bowen did not possess any mystical rain-summoning abilities. However, being well-versed in meteorology, he likely observed signs of an impending weather change. He took this opportunity to persuade Zhu Yuanzhang to correct judicial injustices. Sure enough, a few days later, dark clouds gathered, and a heavy rain poured down. Seeing Zhu Yuanzhang in high spirits, Lu Bowen seized the moment to advise him further. "Your Majesty should establish clear laws and govern according to them, ensuring that innocent people are never wrongly executed." Lu Bowen and the law. After Zhu Yuanzhang became emperor, he appointed Lu Bowen as vice-censor-in-chief, placing him in charge of judicial affairs. Lu Bowen strictly enforced the law. One day, a close associate of Chancellor Li Shanchang committed a crime. Li Shanchang, being one of the founding ministers of the Ming dynasty and Zhu Yuanzhang's hometown acquaintance, held immense power. However, Lu Bowen, despite Li's influence, insisted on executing the offender and reported the case directly to the emperor. This act infuriated Li Shanchang, creating lasting hostility between the two. Another drought and imperial relief efforts. That same year, another severe drought struck the capital. Zhu Yuanzhang, desperate for a solution, sought Lu Bowen's advice. Lu Bowen took this opportunity to say, "Your Majesty, many soldiers died in battle, and their widows need assistance. Additionally, many laborers died while constructing the city walls, and their bodies remain exposed in the fields, unburied. If Your Majesty addresses these matters, perhaps rain will come." Eager to end the drought, Zhu Yuanzhang quickly approved Lu Bowen's request, providing relief for widows and ensuring that the bodies of deceased laborers were properly buried. Although Lu Bowen's intentions were noble, such methods of persuasion were not always reliable. Unlike his earlier prediction, this time the drought persisted for another 10 days. With the scorching sun continuing to bake the land and not a single drop of rain falling, Zhu Yuanzhang became furious. Seizing the moment, Li Shanchang took the opportunity to badmouth Lu Bowen, further souring the emperor's opinion of him. Fearing for his safety, Lu Bowen requested a leave of absence, citing the death of his wife in his hometown. Zhu Yuanzhang granted his request, allowing him to return home, refusing the position of chancellor. Despite this incident, Zhu Yuanzhang still highly valued Lu Bowen. At one point, Zhu Yuanzhang offered to appoint Lu Bowen as chancellor. However, Lu Bowen firmly refused, saying, "Choosing a chancellor is like selecting the main beam of a house. One must use a great timber. If a small one is used, the entire structure risks collapse." Later, Zhu Yuanzhang dismissed Li Shanchang from his position and once again invited Lu Bowen to serve as chancellor. But Lu Bowen replied, "I have a quick temper and cannot tolerate corrupt officials. Moreover, I am now old and no longer fit for such a heavy responsibility. Your Majesty, China has many capable individuals. Please seek out the right person for the job." With that, Lu Bowen retired to his hometown of Qingtian, choosing a life of seclusion. Even though he had once been a key figure in shaping the Ming dynasty, he never spoke of his past accomplishments. The local Qingtian magistrate attempted to visit him several times, but Lu Bowen politely refused to meet. One day, the magistrate disguised himself as a commoner and went to visit Lu Bowen in secret. At the time, Lu Bowen was washing his feet. When he saw an unfamiliar visitor, he quickly put on his shoes, invited the man inside, and warmly offered him a meal. As they talked, Lu Bowen asked for his guest's name. Unable to conceal the truth any longer, the magistrate revealed his identity. "I am the county magistrate of Qingtian. I have come specifically to pay my respects to you, sir." Lu Bowen was shocked, quickly stood up, and bowed respectfully, saying, "I am just an ordinary citizen under your jurisdiction." From that day forward, he refused to meet with the magistrate again. Lu Bowen's final advice to Zhu Yuanzhang. Despite living in seclusion, Lu Bowen remained deeply concerned about the fate of the Ming dynasty. One day, Zhu Yuanzhang sent an envoy to consult Lu Bowen about celestial omens. Lu Bowen replied, "Winter has just passed with heavy frost and snow. Soon, spring will arrive. Now that the nation is stable, I urge your majesty to govern with kindness and leniency." This was Lu Bowen's final piece of advice to the founding emperor of the Ming dynasty. Lu Bowen, a man of wisdom and integrity. Lu Bowen was not just a strategist and statesman, but also a man of integrity and foresight. His military strategies helped Zhu Yuanzhang defeat powerful rivals such as Qing Yuliang and Zhang Shicheng. His judicial reforms emphasized justice and fairness, even when confronting high-ranking officials. His diplomatic wisdom guided Zhu Yuanzhang toward better governance. His humility and dedication to righteousness led him to refuse high-ranking positions, choosing instead to retire peacefully. Though he withdrew from politics, his legacy as one of the greatest advisors of the Ming dynasty lived on.